Hello, hopefully everyone is doing well, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about my experience with Dr. Motaz. First, a little bit about myself is that my name is محمد Yasser. I was born in Damascus, Syria in 2005, and I currently live in the United States. I came here with my family in 2018 or like late 2017, and currently I'm about to enter in about 14 or about 2 weeks to 3 weeks. I'm about to start my second year at college. And first, let's talk about how he has helped me, the problems I had, and like the before and after. And most importantly, I would say, why would you pick Dr. Motaz and all the unique qualities he had and his personality that really sets him apart from anyone out there. Now, this started during my first year of college, I believe, so it's been around 8 to 9 months. Yes, 8 to 9 months, I would say. And let's talk a little bit about the problems I struggled with and what was really my issue. And to put it apart, I had big problems with, let's say, confidence. I had big problems with confidence, overthinking, always trying to be perfect, and not, I would say, really. The worst thing is basically you being an enemy to yourself, right? So, and that all ties in with you trying to be perfect, all that type of stuff. So it's all tied, and I didn't know that. It may not seem clear when you have those issues, and that's one of the things that Dr. Motaz helps, is that basically he points out the problems and you start recognizing it with him. And once you recognize the problem, that's when you can really start to solve it. Now, for me, everything had to be perfect. I don't know why it was like this, but that's how I would say. And another thing was basically how I was in the number one thing that I struggled with the most was you basically are an enemy of yourself. I was my own enemy. Like, you do a mistake, you shut yourself down. You don't forgive yourself. There's a lot of that negative thinking and negative fuel that we have. And I would say he just really, and with confidence, it became night and day difference. And once you fix all those different things, your perfectionist thinking, and because it was all of the anxiety that I had with, if this is not perfect, then it's not right, and I'm horrible, I'm doing a horrible job, I don't know what I'm doing, I started like hating myself. But let's get to it. I first started with one of his lives through his TikTok, it was Instagram, as a lot of us have. And immediately you really start to notice that it's a different type of person. He's a very unique personality, I would say. And immediately, from the first 2 or 3 weeks, we started to notice changes, and those changes became bigger and larger and larger and larger, until you start to notice that it's a night and day difference. Now, one of the things, the start of how he has helped me, I would say the number one from the first week that was the most helpful was that he recognized the problems, or he helps you. In my case, he helped me recognize my problems. I was unaware of them, or I was like, there's a problem, but you don't understand, you can't really put your finger on it. So, if you can't put your finger on it, you can't start fixing it, I would say. And after he started pointing this out, like, look, there's this and this and this, or your issues with confidence ties to you trying to be perfect, and it's something that is unreasonable, that's never going to happen, that you should be a friend of yourself, you can't be an enemy of yourself. That with social anxiety, basically, I had that no one really cares, especially here in the United States. Culture is completely like everyone is on their own. Or it's like in a good way that you do your own thing and you be yourself, and everything will sort itself out. And that's basically what he helped me recognize. And another thing was extremely flexible. He always helps. Like, he lives in Germany, I'm in the United States, so there's a big and huge time zone difference, but we always figure things out. And let me look what I have written here. Yes. So from the first, second weeks, okay, now we understand what we need to do. It's a confidence issue, having trouble with the perfectionist. and esteem. And it was basically, he always breaks down what you need to do, what the problem is. So I believe with confidence, he broke it down with me to like 3 different pillars, right? Whether you're gonna have, basically you need to have experience, or there's different forms of confidence. Whether it's experience, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is basically, even if you don't have experience, you have that innate confidence in yourself that you believe you will learn this thing eventually, and it comes from you being a friend to yourself, I would say. And the third one, I believe, was that it's other external factors. It could be maybe, or the bad confidence it was, that you rely, which I had basically, that you would rely on people saying, hey, good job, and all that stuff. But with me, that's why I had the issue. I was sometimes always about what this person thought of me, and I'm trying to basically please everyone all the time. That's where the anxiety came from. Because I do a mistake, like, oh, what if this person thinks negatively about it? I start thinking negatively about myself, and the cycle keeps going, and it doesn't even matter. Nobody's thinking that way. It's all in my head. And I would say I've written here, problem recognition, everything ties together. And during the sessions, first of all, it's crazy how it's an experience. It's really is. It's a completely different personality. Now he's my first, I guess, professional I'll talk to, and that's important to know that it is a professional, because at the time I did not know what was going on, but when he came in and you have that like third perspective, that third lens, everything becomes clearer, and he points it out to you, and we start working together. I'm gonna try to keep this short, but I've written here that first of all, the personality is amazing, but the way of teaching is the greatest thing. He always has metaphors all the time. Like, he will make sure you remember something whether you like it or not. The thing that's going to help you is that he bring it to you. He's going to make sure you understand it in whatever way, creative way he will create that is specifically for you. For me, I'm a very type of like visual learner, so all the time he's either picking pencils, he's picking papers and stuff, explaining in a very, very creative way and visual way with the camera that you're just not gonna forget. It truly feels like, even though there's a screen behind you and him, that it really feels like it's face to face. And another thing I've written here is that I love how I personally, I'm religious, I would say, or of course, and I'm Muslim, alhamdulillah, and he ties religion into this, which is great and very unique, because it's really rare you can get help from a professional that's gonna do that, right? So it ties in all the different aspects, make sure it's rational, your mind, but also tying in the religion with it, which is great. Because in the end of the day, that's what's most important. Now, I also here he gives tips and all the time gives you homework. So at the end of each session, and I believe, we started having, for the first 2 to 3 months, it was every week, and then it kept getting, it was 4 or 5 sessions. In 5 sessions, basically, the main problems were all fixed. Problems with my confidence was much better. My perfectionist thinking was pretty much gone. And my most important was the anxiety that we started with first. What basically me caring about what this person is gonna think, and this person is gonna think of that, and how it affects me. That became much better, and that was much better. It's also, once you made that realization with experience, if you're dealing with more people, you start to realize that it is all in my head again, as I said. After those 2 months, we started to have a session every 1 week or 2, and then kept getting less and less. We're basically right now just telling him pretty much all the problems are gone, but I still, as much as I enjoyed his help, as much as I enjoy him, as basically he becomes your best friend through online with this sort of stuff, he can help you. And I just wanted him, basically I have him, I think every 5 weeks or so we have one session, kind of like a life coach. And that's what I recommend, guys. Really, when whatever problem you come with it first, stick with him. Just always remember that he's there for you. Or if something comes up ever in the future, you can just come back right there and have him sort the things out. And yeah, Apple also is was very flexible. I think I already talked about that. And the tips, or he gives you homework, that's the massive thing. He tells you basically, he makes sure that we focus on one thing and one thing only on that session, so we can get the most time out of it, so it's not a lot of time being wasted. And at the end of it, for like 5-10 minutes, you start basically talking about what we're going to do, what things are we going to do for this session, that next time we come, we can look at the results, what I've learned. And yeah, I remembered one thing also. It was during a lot of these times where basically we tell him, okay, he won't give you the answer sometimes because he wants you yourself to understand the answer, you figure it out, right? So he's not going to give you the path. He will guide you, but he will never hold you by the leash, if that makes sense. He's going to point where you're supposed to go, but never get you there or drive you. You have to drive yourself on that path and journey. And that, I think, is very, very important. Probably there's a lot of people that would tell you, okay, here's what you need to do, blah, 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 blah. If you do them, yeah, you may feel better, but it's different when you also get to do that experience because it helps you. I think a lot of times people struggle with, okay, that once you stop doing the sessions, everything comes back, right? But in this case, no, because you have basically figured it out yourself. You have fixed your own problem with his guidance rather than his complete help, if that makes sense. And that's a very, also I remember the very important note that I told him basically, or he talked about it, me and him, about how you didn't get your help if you have to be dependent on the videos that he has or whatever help he has, sessions, right? So if you stop for a month or two and all the problems come back with me, you start getting my anxiety back, start thinking negatively, my confidence is low again, that means that it's not a permanent problem. It's not a permanent solution to that problem. It's gonna come back. And that's why he also even told me that, and that I would like to, I think, yeah, that we can keep a session, but you want to keep more sessions in the future for just, like I said, like a life coach basis. But he told me to make sure that, he told me that you're basically done, and he wants to make sure that I'm basically not dependent on his help, for you to be dependent on your own by yourself. And I think it speaks a lot about his character, his personality, and the best way I would say, you guys have checked it out over the streams. You can watch his streams on TikTok and live, and you can always start one session, see how it is. But with my final words, I absolutely do not regret it. It was truly like one of the best helps I had, and he helped me a lot of very important change in my life, or so far I would say, because of course I'm still young, and this is all very small problems if you think about it. But it helps me to got rid of those early. I don't have to worry about them now, or I know what to do in case they ever come back up, which they haven't. I feel great, and my confidence is much better. My confidence is much better, and it's hard to explain. You just kind of have to try it. But from my own word and my own review, is absolutely a must. And just go do the session, and you know what I mean. So thank you guys for listening to me today. And honestly, you just can't have enough of his live. He's such a funny guy too, and you will never forget the experience you have with him. Thank you.